All right, guys, I'm just coming on here to quickly record this trading because the recording did not work. So I'm going to make it in an audio format and I'm just going to make it more of a training because last night's session was more of a conversation. So what we spoke about was a bit of an extension to last week's call. But what I'm first going to talk about is obviously our results. Okay. Now, one of the concepts that matters to all of you is your results, right? Your outcomes or the consequences of your efforts are on top of it's just on the top of your to-do list, right? It's on top of the thing that you want the most. But in order to increase those results in your favor, you must manage your mindset, and that begins with the internal variables that contribute to your results. So that's obviously thoughts, emotions, behaviors. Now, any outcome or any result that you get is, and I guess an outgrowth, if that's the right word, is an outgrowth of those three variables. Thoughts moves in your head, right? Internal dialogue, beliefs, biases, values, and attitudes. All of those things then they create, they prompt, and then they determine emotions. That then drives what you do. Hence the result that then you get. Now, when managing your mindset, one of the first and most important concepts is to become really aware of your thoughts. This is important because about 95% of everything that goes in your brain, in your mind, is out of your awareness. So, with that, if you are going to manage your thoughts, you must first become aware of the negative ones that's causing all these erratic emotions like fear, FOMO, greed, that's going to disrupt you from following through on your trading plan, causing you to break your rules, violate your commandments, your commitments, whatever your golden rules are. So to become aware, you've got to monitor what you are telling yourself. And when you identify these unconscious conversations, it's then really important to reframe them. Reframing is one of my favorite tools, and it's basically this mental tool of reframing, and it is, I guess, indispensable to your ability to develop and expand capacity for emotional strength, emotional endurance during your trade and just your trading journey as a whole. Now, reframing begins with an idea or a thought that is literally, I want you to think of it as like framed, okay? Framed means that that idea has a meaning already associated with it in your mind, meaning it's extremely critical to how you respond or how you react, because when you give something meaning, when you attribute a meaning to something, let's just say price action moves and it hits your stop loss. That means you're going to lose the trade. That means you're a poor trader. That means that, you suck, right? Whatever story you've told yourself, you get the idea. Then what follows from that is a corresponding emotion. And if that emotion is, for instance, fear, whatever, the discomfort then prompts you to do something to then reduce the intensity of that emotion. Like maybe you'll move your stop loss. Okay. Maybe you'll just slam your laptop shut and go have a little victim pity party. Okay. So meaning controls not only what you perceive, but how you perceive it. So if you change the meaning, which is the frame, by reframing the idea, then you change the meaning. And if you change the meaning, then you also change the emotional relationship to it. Okay. Which means you'll then go from like feeling unsupported to supported to do what you have to do to get, whatever's in your best interest. So this is done by changing the context or the content of the idea, right? So let's talk about, consider the notion of a loss. Okay. The frame that most traders will use is negative, right? They will use adjectives like painful, annoying, frustration, bad, failure, whatever. So in this example, the example I gave before of, say, where price action stops you out, the emotional relationship is now strained. It feels uncomfortable. You feel fear, you feel frustration, you feel anxiety, you feel all the things. So the reframe might look something like, every small loss gets me closer to a big win. Or failure or a loss is only feedback and lessons. Or losses is just the cost of the business. Or everyone experiences losses, right? What is actually important is how I manage my losses and I keep them small. Okay. See how the meaning and therefore the emotional relationship or feeling to those types of statements is actually positive or at least neutral, going from the unsupportive negative energy of the original frame of I'm bad, I suck, this is frustrating, trading sucks, to the supportive positive energy of the reframe of everything I just said. So your mindset begins with your thoughts, and many of those thoughts are in your unconscious. So I need you to monitor what's actually going on in your head when you're trading, because you can't change what you can't face, and you can't face what you don't know. So you must first aim to increase your awareness of unconscious conversations by training yourself to be in the moment, right? Not an easy thing to do. Okay, it's not easy, which is why I use the word train. I'm not going to tell you to be in the moment if you don't know how to do that. So I want you to train yourself, just like, you're training for, I don't know, a physical powerlifting competition, whatever it is, except you're doing it in your mind. And now I often talk about the importance of being in the now, like being present, no distractions. If you are in the now, that is fully present and fully available, which means that you are so focused, you're firing on all cylinders, you're optimizing your internal and external resources, you're more likely to feel in your body, be aligned in your mind, body, and emotions. That's going to help you get to your goals, right? But being in the now means that you are focused on the task at hand. Your attention is more prone to be at least close to, if not 100% invested in the thing that you're doing, right? There's no pets in the room. You're not distracted. There's not your partner in the kitchen cooking. There's not kids running around. Okay. That all of those things that I just said is a major issue for traders. You've got so many distractions in your environment. I want you to ask yourself that. What is in my immediate work environment that's actually distracting? Cool, your dog's cute. Cool, your cat's cute. Get them out of the room. Okay. Training yourself to be present without distraction, training yourself to monitor your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors. All of that is going to assist you in being able to anticipate what might go wrong in the trade, and then be proactive in your preparation to deal with it, and also be preemptive in reducing those issues, like all these biases that get in your way. So once you identify that the statement that you're telling yourself is unsupportive, for instance, I don't have a setup, nothing's presenting itself, the market's really slow, I feel like if it's clear, it's not there. I've got to get in on this price action to make money. I've got to get in this trade. Oh shit, I'm scared of losing, so I'm not going to get in, right? You got to reframe it. Okay. What I've got to do is keep my focus on what matters most and wait for my setup. Okay. Or the frame, I'm so stupid for chasing that trade. I'll never get this right. I keep getting stopped out. I haven't had a winning trade in a really long time, right? The reframe for that is then, cool, I made a mistake. I'm going to journal it. I'm going to use all my tools that I have, and I'm going to keep going. And the more data I have, the better the trader I will become. So this is just going to help you make sure that your emotional relationship to your mindset is created intentionally, right? It's created on what and how you were talking to yourself, and that needs to be in a positive, uplifting, supportive way that's actually conducive to what it is you're going to do. Now, the reason I wanted to start with that is because this is where all the limiting beliefs come in, right? A limiting belief is a false belief that you acquire about yourself in some capacity. So after all the messages and the conversations with some of you last week, that's why this is a part 2. Okay, just so we can start dismantling some of the things that you guys all hold to be true. So I'm just going to go over limiting beliefs, limiting behaviors, and actions to negate them. Now, I asked a question on last night's call, and that question was, are you able to express your fullest potential on demand? I want you to sit with that. The question is not as complicated as you think. You may be like, SJ, can I have an example? I just want you to sit with that question. It's not as complicated as you think, right? Now, when it comes to limiting beliefs are a model of belief that we hold about ourselves, and we are, unless we're aware, 100% committed to our model. We own it and all of its flaws, and until you are made aware of your limiting beliefs, they're going to rob you of your potential, and you may not even know that's happening, because your beliefs, no matter if they're supportive or not, are always at work 24/7, 365, on all the time, okay? Now, you have them in your potential, you have them in your vision, right? They're somewhere, they're everywhere, but they're always at work. They show up in how you self-talk. They show up in how you speak to others, right? They are in your excuses. They are in the reasons you give yourself an out for something. They're in your complaints. Okay. Now, I shared last night, we recently had a guy who has been with us for a really long time, and he left last year. And then he came back when we started this, and he's like, yeah, I'm all in. I left too soon and I realized, I can't do it on my own. Next minute, he canceled his membership. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? So I reached out, and I was met with, I just don't need it or use it. And I thought that was really fucking interesting to me, because to go from all in to once again retreating, quitting, limiting beliefs are clearly at play here. Confirmation bias is at play here. I'm using this as an example. I'm not fucking talking shit, okay? But it's very easy to see when a trader gets too big for their boots. Okay. But for me, it's like, all right, this is your journey. You've got to go do whatever you want, right? The reason I share this with you is because this is how limiting behaviors show up from your limiting beliefs, right? This is the area where limiting beliefs show up in action. You may not know it, but you've already built a really fucking solid support system for these beliefs without even knowing it. So a few things that you should know about is these limiting beliefs make and limiting behaviors make 99.9% sense for where you are at. Otherwise, you would no longer have them. Okay. You don't see them as excuses. You don't see them as limitations. And chances are most of the people in your life also don't see them as limitations either. Okay. What I have noticed is, or what I have learned is, it's actually those closest to us who are a part of what keeps these limiting beliefs and behaviors alive. Now, for example, when you say something like, it's too hard, they're going to agree. Okay. Give you an A+ for effort. Or when you talk about the future or a goal or something you have to do, whatever, they accommodate you with questions that make it easy for you to see how fucking crazy your idea is. How do you think you're going to do that? How much is that going to cost? How long does it take? Why haven't you made any money yet? Are you sure this works? What's wrong with you? Whatever it is, right? And the moment you get into that conversation, you don't realize that you are giving in and losing sight of future you if you engage in conversations like that. This is why it's really hard to talk about trading to non-traders or people who aren't into personal development. So last night I gave you all an activity, and what I want you to try out is this. I want you to have a conversation with someone in your life who doesn't trade, who isn't really into personal development, and I want you to talk about the challenges that you're going through. Or I just want you to talk about, if you don't really have any challenges, talk about the big goals that you have with trading and see what they say. Okay. I then want you to find someone in your life who is very much into personal development but doesn't trade, and see what they say. I really want to know these things. Now, person A may still be really supportive. Okay. They may be a really good person, and that's amazing. But the point with this exercise is, I just want you to do yourself a favor and slow down and just take a real scan of the people who are around you that actually mean really well for you. They love you, who are actually supporting of current you. Okay. They are very supportive of current you, but they don't challenge you to go past your current you for you to step into future you. Okay. They're just great people that love you for who you are. When people say, I love you for who you are, don't ever change, I fucking hate that. Now, disclaimer here, I guess, you also don't need people's support to do what you're going to do. If you're reliant on people's support on your goals, you probably lack the conviction in yourself. And when you don't do what you want to do, or when you don't achieve something as quick as you want, you're probably going to blame them because so-and-so didn't support me. Okay. Now, there was a time in my relationship where I actually realized me and Chip were holding each other back. Of course, we love each other. Would we ever do this intentionally? No. Okay. Would we do it unknowingly? Yeah, we were. Okay. For this instance and this example, it was never with business or trading, but it was with health and fitness. When we first started dating, we just wanted to hang out all the time, right? Everything aside from like my trading and business went sideways. We were best mates. We always wanted to hang out. So because we were so busy with our own careers, we would then put hanging out and fill in the gaps where we had with hanging out. So health and fitness kind of went out the window. This went from like dining out to date nights to watching movies instead of being active. So that's one example. Or when I did get back onto my fitness train and I wanted to meal prep, Chippy hates using a microwave, so we don't fucking have one. And that makes meal prep very difficult for me. And I blamed him for that. Okay. Very, very subtle things. But when we realized it, we spoke about it and we made the adjustments. We got really clear, really real with where we were actually limiting each other, and we love each other so much. Okay. Now, as I know I just said before, it's not about needing the support of friends and family, but your partner. I'm 100% a believer that the closest people to you will determine your level of success, right? Your environment. You absolutely cannot get to where you're going if they're not on board. It's going to be really fucking hard. So you must intentionally surround yourself with people who are ahead of you or who are just next to you on the same way and who are just willing to share their journey with you. Okay. Now, I want you to think about it. What is the limiting belief that you have in your life? How have you built a support system for that? This, like, what you can do to overcome it and move forward, the only way to do that is by taking action. Okay. So last week, I got you to question your limiting beliefs and challenge your limiting beliefs. What you must know here is ingrained beliefs are often not questioned, they're repeated. Ingrained beliefs are so deeply rooted. And your belief system, that is your code. It is an agreement with yourself. And where I see people go wrong is they treat all beliefs as if they are true, even if they aren't serving them. So one thing that's important to know here is that your beliefs are inherently valid, are not inherently valid. Your opinions are inherently valid, right? Like I said last night, no one can say that you're wrong for choosing swing trading over scalping, right? But your beliefs are not inherently valid. Beliefs are a truth claim about the world. And guys, truth claims can be wrong. Like, for example, when you say you believe in God, you are making the statement, I think it is true that God exists. You are making a claim about which you could actually be wrong, right? If God does exist, you're right. If God doesn't exist, you're not, period. That is black and white. Objectively speaking, there are truth to the way things are, right? Either the universe is infinite or finite. Prayer either works or it doesn't, right? God is whatever, okay? We may not know these answers, but those things exist, okay? So here's the thing. Much of who and what you do today was decided by a person you were years ago, a person with far less experience, doesn't have the same values, doesn't know what you know now. So this is your identity, right? As in who you are to yourself, who you are to others, that changes throughout your life. And the person most qualified to be deciding what you do is who you are today. But guys, we don't think like that because we make our conclusions made, we work from conclusions made years ago. Usually no idea why we made them or why. And most of our impressions on something are probably based on a single experience, a one instance of unpleasantness or disappointment that turned you off something for fucking good. Okay. And because of that, you're now left with this standing belief, and I call these surrogate facts in your head left over from a time that you didn't know any better, but you're still living your life through that. And a lot of the things that you feel like aren't for you are indeed for you because the person you used to be still wants you to be the person you used to be. Okay. Beliefs, right? They collect like old magazines, they get fucking dusty, except for the fact that these guys, these beliefs, they direct your behavior. Okay. And we can't really see them. So we don't think to clean them up or cull them. So let's look at the phrases like not my thing, not for me. When someone says that, that's a huge red flag. Whenever you say that, that's not for me, I don't like that. Whenever. When did you decide that? Right? How old was the person who decided that wasn't for you? I don't like that. Was it even a decision or was it an emotional reaction? How much do you really know about the thing to say that's not for you? You must ask because otherwise you need to know that your lifestyle is still being directed by a younger and less experienced version of you who doesn't know and support who you are today, but that is the person running the show. So you want to consider the beliefs and the stories. I'm just not good with money. Is that a fact or is it perception? I've never been good with money. Is that fact or perception? I've just never known what to do. Fact or perception? I'm never going to be a successful trader. Fact or perception? I'm never going to have a successful business. Fact or perception? I'm never going to find my person. Fact or perception? All of these things, right? Don't believe everything that you think. What I mean by that is you are not your thoughts, you're the thinker of your thoughts. So you need to discern between real and perceived limits. Tony Robbins says this best. What we can or cannot do, what we consider possible or impossible, is rarely a function of our true capability. It is more likely to be a function of our beliefs about who we are. So when you make decisions and take actions from a set of old beliefs, you get the same results you always have. Okay. If your results are good, then you probably have a valid, resourceful philosophy. But if you don't favor the results that you typically get, it's time to question everything that you hold to be true. Now, when you are getting the same results over and over and over again, it's because you're recreating the same environment and the same situation that gets those results. So by recreating the environment, you build references to support your current belief system. I hope that makes sense. But to put it in another way, the decisions that you make today create a situation that supports what you believe. So instead of questioning what you believe and changing your situation, you just don't do that, right? So if your beliefs are serving you and you're getting the results that you want, then recreating a situation, that situation could be really beneficial for you. But when your results are, say, unfavorable, you need to look inward and figure out if what you hold to believe is actually true and if it serves you. Because if all you know is only what you've been exposed to, then you're more likely to be, attracting situations, circumstances, whether it's just like results in trading, people in your life, whatever it is, simply because your brain just loves patterns. Okay. Now, if you question a belief that you have and you believe that belief is still valid today, then what I need you to do is compare that belief to the results that you get. Are you getting what you want? What you do every day creates a situation that supports what you believe. So if your beliefs aren't serving you, then your situations will not be what you want. And the reason I love questioning all this stuff and being curious into your own insights, into your own beliefs, is because the mind that questions is a mind that expands, right? It doesn't mean that you have to, question everything all the time, because that's what assumptions are for. It's really nice to have assumptions in our lives, so then we're not paranoid about everything, right? Like an example of an assumption. If I'm going to cross the road, I'm going to obviously wait for the little green man to go, but I'm going to assume that the oncoming traffic is going to stop. Okay, that's what an assumption is. So I really want you to consider, after these last 2 sessions, what is your beliefs about trading now, right? What are your still current lurking limiting beliefs about trading? What are they? Now, you've all also heard me talk about secondary gain for a really long time. Now, in psych, just to give you a bit of a memory jog, the term secondary gain refers to the hidden or indirect benefits that individuals may have from, maintaining certain beliefs or behaviors. So I want you to think about, once you've done your belief audit, the question I want you to ask is, what do you gain from believing this? I want you to spend a minute, write it down, share it with me if you want. Now, if you have the limiting belief of, I'm not smart enough to be a successful trader, the secondary gain to that would be avoiding the pressure and responsibility that comes with trading success, right? Because failure can be attributed to perceived lack of intelligence rather than effort and strategy and time and perseverance and all that stuff, okay? You could also have one of fear of failure. That is all about protection, right? Some people, some traders might hold the belief that they won't be successful as a way to protect themselves from the fear of failure. Because if they convince themselves in advance that success is not as it's unlikely, then you're going to feel less disappointed if it doesn't meet your expectations, right? Maybe you've got a limiting belief of, I can't find anything, the market's always against me, I don't know what I'm doing, right? The secondary gain there is now you're shifting responsibility from your own trading results to something else. Now, that belief is going to give you a sense of victimhood, right? It's going to relieve the pressure of personal accountability, right? It's an avoidance of responsibility. Okay. Now, what about a trader who doesn't follow their trading plans and their trading rules? Once again, that is an avoidance of responsibility, because by not adhering to your trading plan, you then get to avoid taking responsibility. Okay. Another one would be short-term gratification, right? You're looking for a thrill, you're looking for excitement. So then you take impulsive trades for the thrill of the risk taking. Another one would be around discomfort. Okay. Following a trading plan requires discipline. It can be emotionally challenging. So by deviating from your plan, you've let yourself off the hook from being disciplined, right? You're now providing more evidence that you're not disciplined. Maintaining self-image is another one, right? If a trader has a self-image tied to being successful and making lots of money and whatever else, you ignoring your rules might actually help preserve this image. Okay, preserve the image of yourself, but also of its avoidance of feelings of failure and inadequacy. Okay, there's self-worth protection. You know, we all know trading is a hit to the ego. So trading, success in trading is also linked, like some of us link it to self-worth, believing that you're not going to be successful might actually serve you as a defense mechanism to protect yourself. So it creates this narrative that separates personal value from trading outcomes. That then rolls into lack of accountability, right? It then rolls into identity preservation. So this is what you got to consider, right? If you have a secondary gain from you not pulling the trigger, you have avoidance from potential losses, because if you now don't enter a trade because of your FOMO, you then get to avoid potential losses if the trade doesn't go as expected. What that does is it's going to provide you with a sense of relief in the short term. Okay. What that also does, it's protection against your ego, because not entering a trade based on FOMO, that's going to protect your ego if you lose. Right? Even if that trade turns out unprofitable, then you don't get to feel it. Okay? You don't get to feel that. So I guess it's a temporary sense of security. So FOMO driven inaction, it provides this temporary sense of security because you're avoiding uncertainty. Okay? Obviously, I guess preservation of capital as well. But I want you to just ask yourself and be disgustingly honest. I want you to ask, am I benefiting from the relationships and the validation of this belief more than I am the belief itself? Okay, so ask us, it's a really hard question. Like, are you getting more value from the belief, or are you getting more value from the community and relationships and the validation that that belief gives you as an identity? Write about that. Think about that very deeply, because you must evaluate the impact of this belief, and you must figure out what the consequences of your beliefs and your limiting beliefs and your limiting behaviors. What is this all costing you? Okay, because guys, with trading, your belief, like building your belief system, is going to take time. It's a skill set. You've got to build personal evidence that you can do it, right? But like, I want you to ask yourself, what's one thing that was once really hard for you that you've now mastered? It could be a sport, it could be fucking dancing, it could be learning a language, whatever it is. But you once did something for the very first time that was hard. So what you need to understand, that your first season of trading is, there's only two phases, in my opinion. You go, phase one is survive, phase two is prosper. Your first job as a trader is phase one, is to survive. This is the beginner's stage, right? This is the learning curve. This is where it's trial and error. This is the emotional roller coaster where you have to build the emotional endurance, the emotional intelligence. Phase one's about capital preservation. It's understanding risk. It's about building the foundation. Now, phase two, that's about the prospering. That's about consistency. That's about growth. That's about refinement. That's about psychological mastery, risk management mastery. It's continuous learning. Okay, some of you are just trying to skip to phase two yet. You haven't even mastered phase one, right? Experience and confidence, that will then allow you to prosper, but you can't get both of those things without phase one. So your belief systems are going to be built by experience. So by choosing to not go into victim mindset, you need to choose the belief that you can do this. Okay? You can do this. What you're trying to do, become funded, trade full time, millions of people have already done that. So it's not like if Forex worked, it's if you work. It's not if the strategy works, it's if you work. It's, do you have the support system around you? Do you have the belief system to support this? Because if you don't have that, then this isn't going to work. The strategy isn't going to work. Trading isn't going to work, but you will blame that instead of looking at you. Okay, if you don't have that, then that's what's going to hold you back. Right? Like I said, what you're trying to do isn't something that's been done before. You're not trying to fly to fucking Pluto. Right? So as a new trader, you've got to recruit your confidence, and you do this by reminding yourself that you once upon a time learned something that you didn't know, and now you're really good at it. You remind yourself that you can do hard things. You do this by continuously investing in yourself, learning the skill. And when you start trading live, you begin with a small amount of capital to reduce the pressure and the emotional stress, and you focus on building consistency around that. Right? You gradually increase your position sizes as your confidence grows. You focus on the process over the outcome. You shift the focus from immediate profits and losses to executing trading plans effectively, right? So you need to focus on the strengths that you have. right? Your ability to figure shit out. You're all so resourceful. You're all not victims. You're all in phase one. You need to deepen the convictions in yourself, because if you don't see yourself as a winner, then no one will. You won't be. Okay. You've got to let yourself be a beginner if you want to be a pro. Okay. That's it for me. I would love you to share your takeaways in the Discord. Have fun.